we can, yeah.
We do?
Our
Okay.
flags over here.
Stand up for the pledge of
We'll
allegiance.
stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We do this at our Zoom meetings as well. And you have a room full of people standing up where you just see below the neck.
Oh, well, that's good.
saying the pledge.
Okay, well, welcome to everybody. This is the October meeting of the Fire Commission. The meeting it's 6:06. If you'll record that, Kevin, we can start the meeting. All present except Commissioner Kobolak. He's been excused, but we have a quorum. So the roll call is I'm here, Mr. Kelsey's here, Mr. Corneffel is here, Mr. Kobolak is absent, and Ms. O'Connor is here. So you have the agenda before you. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Do you have the minutes? I don't have a copy of the minutes. Does everybody have a copy of the minutes?
I do not.
Are there minutes?
Did we not put them in there?
Didn't see the minutes in there.
Wasn't sent.
Okay, well, let's, we'll do the September minutes in November.
And that's not a problem.
Okay, good. We'll move on to expenses. Chief Beaudry, you want to go over these with us?
Yes, as you can see in the expenses, everything's on track. Everything's on track. There are a few things here that that we've gone over a little bit. We are running over on our equipment repairs. We've had quite a string of equipment repairs, and we still have a few more that are still coming. Other than that, everything is where it should be at this time.
It looks pretty good. Are those extra expenses, are they shown under the vehicle lease? Is that because I see you're well over.
They're going to be under fire operations, and you'll see them under equipment repairs.
What page is that?
It'll be on page 3 of 4. You'll see maintenance, vehicle lease.
Yeah, that's the one. I see we're over now. Those expenses that you reviewed with me, are they included in this, or they're going to be added to it?
They will be added to that.
Okay, so that's one item where we're going to be over.
Yes.
Other than that, though, I see you're under on a lot of things, so hopefully we can contain everything within your budget.
Correct. Some things are under, thankfully, and we do have a few that are over.
Okay, any questions or comments from the commissioners?
I have a quick question, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
It's technical. Mike and Lori, are we sounding okay, or do we need to speak more into the mics, or are you picking us up?
So far, your sound is good.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
great. Okay, let's move on to the discussion items. Chief's report, Rusty.
The chief's report, as you can see in your packet, it's been busy month. We've had quite a few runs. I think if I am correct, we are over the number that we were at this time last year. Our numbers every year go up, but this year's been a busy year.
I see you have one cardiac arrest. Were we able to get there in time and save that person, or?
We have so many, Jerry. I'm trying to remember which one
Look
it
down
was.
at near the bottom,
September 20?
September 20th.
Unreal, yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no, that person, he was a younger gentleman. He did not make it. We got there. We don't know how long he was down. The police got there on a welfare check. They went through the door, found him in full arrest, called us, and
So they inadvertently found him when they were delivering something? Oh, okay. That's too bad. Any questions or comments? Okay, Rusty, thank you. It is obviously, you're very, very busy. You want to move on to the equipment?
equipment is, as we were talking a little while ago, we have some foam abatement that we have to abate because of the PFAS. Our fire trucks store foam in their tanks. We're going to have a company come out, pump those tanks out and flush them. That's going to be an additional expense as well towards the equipment maintenance. We've got a couple of estimates in for that. We also, we've been doing a lot of maintenance on the trucks. Our engine 2, it failed the pump test. We had to send it out and have the pump completely rebuilt. That's a big intaking. The entire fire truck's got to be disassembled to get to the pump in the center of the truck, and that's good. That's going to be a very expensive bill. Our equipment repair bill is way over, and it's been doing that every single year. These trucks, to maintain them, to keep them working, they're not good if they're sitting broke. They don't do us any good, and unfortunately, they're very expensive to maintain. There's no way around it. I wish there was, but having a fire department full of broken trucks won't work.
I see what we've budgeted for the year. Are we just under budgeting as opposed to an unusual year?
I've been watching this trend for a couple of years. It's the equipment repairs continue to go up every single year, and we're trying to increase, but we're not keeping up on our increase of how much it costs to repair these trucks. The equipment repairs are going through the roof.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Chief, is that also likely because the equipment is aging and aging out maybe quicker than we expected?
Yes. Our ladder truck is 1997. She's 21 years old.
I helped buy that ladder truck
Yes.
in 1997. That was my first act as township clerk,
Is that right?
was to sign the big check
Well, that was,
for that truck. But it's still serving us, so money
Yes.
well spent, right?
yes. And we recently discovered that the suspension on it has rusted through. It's rusted in an area that is not accessible. You can't see it. And that's going to be a costly repair. So that truck will be about 1.5 million to replace. It's 21 years old. It's good. Yeah, that's what we paid for it when we bought it.
It's 24 years old.
Yes.
I believe it was around 800,000 when we bought it.
Yes, sir.
And it's really to the end of its service life.
Yes.
And we should consider buying a 105-footer, the big aerial. Helps your insurance rating and it's state of the art. And you're still going to get a lot of money for this truck. So, and that's the whole purpose of the equipment fund, which we have money in there for.
Yes, sir.
I mean, is it past its useful life? I mean, or are we just trying to get as much out of it as we can?
The ladder trucks, you typically try to get between 25 to 30 years because of their great expense out of them. And we're approaching that right now. I know with COVID and everything else, if we placed an order today, it wouldn't be available for a couple of years till next year. And The same with the ambulances. I talked to, we had to get some repairs done on their ambulance. And he said they're 1 year or more behind on deliveries.
So, Commissioner Corneffel, when you suggested the length of a truck, and excuse me for not knowing the length of the truck, but are you suggesting maybe a shorter truck but still with an aerial, or the same length of truck?
He's
No,
talking about a
uh,
105 footer.
Yeah, a bigger
A
aerial,
bigger aerial.
longer.
This has got the state-of-the-art equipment on
It does. At the time we bought this truck, that was the largest aerial available. And I think it's like 74, as my memory serves me. But that truck's 24 years old. I know we have a schedule of all the vehicles we have. And in the past, they've had problems with the trucks, not so many miles on them, but they get corrosion internal, they don't run. After a while, they need to go, and you can sell them off to some of these other communities. I think with the Joe Miller some years ago, had 60,000 miles on it, the wheel fell off going down Meridian. It just broke right off. And it was a matter of, internal corrosion, and I think it's, that's what the funds for. All of the gear and all of the other stuff that we have is pretty much on a revolving cycle to replace, and I know that we're up to speed on that. And they've cut some of the times down on some of the suits and some of the breathing apparatus. So that's a personal protection item. So that's a good thing that we've shortened the time on those. But I know we have some of the other trucks here that are in this 15-year range, 20. And if I'm not mistaken, these are scheduled. They're on a replacement schedule, and I think this aerial is beyond its time to be replaced. So
What do we need to, we just go before the township? You need township approval on this?
We would have to put it out for bid. We would have to first and foremost specify what we're looking for. It would go to a committee to pick, and then we would put it out for bid, and then award of bids from there.
At what point do we get the township board involved?
We're not,
We can do this, or
we would have to start setting up. It's, I would say in the next couple of years, because we have to replace this one, then we have to sit down. It takes a few months to spec one out. Generally, I would say about 4 months to have everybody get together. What happens is the guys will go look at other fire trucks, they'll see what works, what doesn't, visit other fire departments, talk. At that point in time, they're in an information gathering
now,
phase.
who is this? A committee of the fire department?
It'll be a committee of the members of the fire department on what they would like to see for the next ladder truck.
What do you need to move forward? Because if it's gonna take 2 years, I agree, we need to move now. So what do you need from us or anybody else to move forward?
Just your blessing.
Well, yeah, we could make a motion to say, form a committee to explore the feasibility of replacing and what, do the research for it. The second thing I know, and some of our board members are gonna ask this, is they're gonna wanna know how much we've used what we have and how important it is to the running of the department. So eventually the team will have to make a case for, what it wants, why we want it, how it's going to fit into the overall rubric of the department, right? And that's what they did when we bought that big truck. They did a study because nobody thought we needed a truck like that for Grosse Seal. And Duncan went ahead and put a task force together, and they started to build a case for how we could use that truck, what we would use it for, how the money would be an investment, And obviously, as Kurt said, these trucks don't go out every day, so it's not so much wear and tear on the trucks as it is being ready and available. After 20 years, parts just wear out from sitting there,
Exactly what's happened to it.
Yeah.
Do you want to reformulate it, your discussion, put it into a motion so that we can vote on it and authorize Rusty to move forward?
Sure. Would you like me to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I would like to make a motion that Chief Beaudry and his fire team form a task force or committee to start researching the need to replace, and then you'll have to insert the name of the truck. I don't know those
Okay.
numbers. You know, the air,
1661 aerial.
1661 aerial, and start to put a plan together for capital replacement.
Support.
You captured that, Kevin, for the minute? Okay, we have a motion made in support. Any discussion?
Well, and then now under discussion, I'm happy to tell you at the same time, you know, that same committee or the commission itself can start looking to find a buyer for the existing truck, a resale opportunity. That kind of goes hand in hand, right? So that when we make the pitch to the board, it's going to cost this much, but we're going to get this back for the other truck. I think you've done that before.
Right, we'll find out what our trade-in value is and how
Yeah.
much we can get.
That'd be part of
Of your research.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, part of what that committee does.
Okay, any further discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Carries. Anything further on equipment, Rusty, or do you want to move on to carport?
A few more things on equipment.
Okay,
We did buy new inflatable life vests and throw bags for our rookies that didn't have them yet. That way when we're working around the water, these inflatable life vests they put on anytime we're on a water rescue, and if they should fall in, become incapacitated, knocked out, the life vest will automatically inflate. Also, a lot of times we have a person that's in the water, no way to get to them. The throw bags are nice. We can throw the bags out to them. They can grab onto them, and we can pull them back to shore. So they will carry those in their personal vehicles. If they're driving down West River and we get a call for a person in the water, it doesn't make any sense for them to run all the way to the station. They will have these two pieces of equipment that each one was assigned to in their equipment, and we all have them. So, and we have used them in the past.
That's good to know.
you want to, before you move on, you want to circle back to your report and discuss this?
Yes, I would like everyone to know that Paul Smoke from the toll bridge called on Monday, and he offered to buy the fire department a new airboat. A very generous offer from him. He would like to donate that. We're very grateful for that offer. I think that's huge. I commend him completely. That was unsolicited. He just did it out of the goodness of his heart. In front of you can see a couple of pictures.
Kevin, do we also have one that we could put on the Elmo, or so people, if anyone's watching from home, they can see these?
Here you go, Kevin. These airboats that he offered, these two particular models, there's a picture here in front of you of a hovercraft. We did have one of those at one time, and the problems with the hovercraft is that skirt around the bottom is a fabric skirt, and it rips on the edges of the ice. Also, it's open to the elements, and we would not be able to transport a patient in something like that. That's a great little hovercraft for rescuing somebody that fell through the ice on a lake where it's smooth ice. The river, we don't generally get that. And as far as being on the water, this would not handle the waves. If you want to flip over the other side, Kevin. On the back side is another brand that he showed us, which is a little better boat. It's got a flat bottom, but again, it's exposed to the elements. This boat that we see here would be great in the Everglades, but unpractical for the ice, the river, and the dangerous water we have up here. I'm grateful for Paul for making this offer. We do have an airboat already, so maybe we can have Paul help with something else. down the line.
Is this our current?
This is a picture of our current airboat. It's got an enclosed cab. It's heated, so if we came down to it, we could transport a patient across the ice with this. It has its limitations. It has a flat bottom. It doesn't do well in rough weather. It will do well to get us across the ice in a pickle. But if you're running through rough water, a boat stops better. A boat is more controllable than a fan that you're just kind of skipping across the water with. This boat's kept in the fire department. Down at the fire station, yes. It is, the motors in these boats, and they're temperamental. They do take a great deal of maintenance to keep them up, keep them running. That motor that's in there is a race engine, and it's built to go fast, quick, and for a short period, and then you rebuild it and start all over again. It's a drag race engine. In a drag racer, they run them down the drag strip, and at the end of the day, they have to rebuild that engine from scratch, and that's what these engines are. That's the nature of them. They put out a lot of power to turn that fan, because that airboat weighs a lot. You're pushing a lot of weight with a column of air. So they're tough to keep running. They're tough to maintain, and it's a specialized piece of equipment.
Have we used it often? Like what
This
kind of
particular,
uses would you have for this in the past?
if I recall, we've rescued 22 people with this airboat that you see here. Some of them have been groups of 3 or 4 duck hunters that are stranded out there, people that have fallen through the ice. We've used it on a number of occasions. Without a doubt, it's a nice piece of equipment,
Yeah.
but it's a great expense for us to maintain. And we're very careful. We won't use it for body recovery. We won't use it for pets. We've been asked to take it out there to recover somebody's pets. Unfortunately, it's so expensive of a piece of equipment that we save it for life safety. And I don't want to take that chance of it breaking down to the point where we can't repair it on a corpse or a pet. It's just a sad part of it. And remember last year we had the dog that was stuck out there on Mud Island? We got numerous requests to go rescue it, and I won't use up a piece of equipment for anything less than life safety for a person.
I think we were collectively called heartless at the time, but I honored your decision at the time as well, because unfortunately the job you have is making the tough call, and you need to have a valuable piece of equipment available for a human life.
If somebody's child fell through the ice
Yeah.
and this boat was broken because I had used it on something previous, the weight of that is just too much. I have to save it for people, for human life.
That dog was rescued, though, wasn't it?
That dog was rescued. Somebody else did come and get it, and God bless him. I mean, my heart was with him. I wanted to go do it, but I do have a duty to our citizens and
You know, again,
safety.
being newbie, you know, and the problem with being a newbie is you bring up suggestions that have been brought up 1,000 times before and dismissed. But it's important for a lot of our residents who aren't insiders to understand how and why we use equipment and do things the way we do. And I know you do the fall open house where a lot of parents and kids come in. I think expanding our role in educating as we look at our equipment and replace our equipment is to explain to our residents why we're doing what we're doing, and maybe part of the task force role could be at our meetings to do a presentation, every meeting about a particular piece of equipment and how we use it, what its value is. And when you think about the aerial truck, you know, it's $795,000 from 1997, over 24 years, cost per rescue, right? Every time you use it, that cost goes down. And every time you use it, you've saved a life. You've saved something very valuable. It's hard to put a price on those things, you know, so.
The picture of the airboat you see here, the reason why we bought this airboat is we did have a child that went through the ice, and we couldn't get to him, and we couldn't rescue him, and we lost that child. And the toll that takes on the firefighters, we were determined that we would find a way, and that's the whole reason why we have this. And that's why we take this equipment so seriously. Everything we do is for life safety.
Would you convey to Paul Smoke our gratitude for his generous offer on behalf of the commission?
I will do that, and I can't thank Paul enough.
Can I
Can't
say
say that.
something here?
Yeah.
Before we just summarily reject this, looking at this, the one that looks, it's like a, you know, a propeller-driven boat like what we have now. So I don't know that that would be applicable for us here today. But the other one, the hovercraft, if he's going to give this to us, it may have a value someplace. So I wouldn't be so quick to say, no, this won't work. I think this may have an application. And so I think we should maybe explore that a little in a more detail before saying, no, I don't think it would work. Personally, I kind of like it. I think that it would have some benefit to us. That's just my take on it. Would you put it out in jagged ice? No. Could you put it down the thoroughfare canal from somebody's backyard? Sure. So I think this has some value to us. And I don't know, my guess, what is that thing, 100,000 anyways? 100 grand? How much is this thing, 100,000?
I don't even know. There was no prices on the website.
But I mean, just looking at it, you know, it's something expensive, and I think that's a wonderful thing you did. I think we look at that a little closer.
We will look into it further.
Where would you keep it?
We have to keep it in the fire department.
Garage?
It would be in the garage. Oh yes, it can't be stored outside.
It's fairly small, so I think that, you know, once you get the dimensions and spec sheet on it, what it does and what it doesn't do, then you can make a more informed decision on it.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar enough to not ask a stupid question, so, this only works on ice, or I've seen hovercraft go across water, but that would be a different kind of hovercraft, correct?
Right. When it comes to water, we do have aluminum boats,
Yeah,
and they're a better option on something like it because you can stop them, you can reverse the engine, like we just talked about. You're not skipping. We had one like this, just like this in the past. And we did try to do ice rescues with it, but it was too unstable.
okay.
That's why we went to the bigger boat that we have now.
But it was a big one. It was a lot bigger than this.
No, it was almost the same size as
Was?
that in the picture.
But how many years ago? It was a used one, too, when we bought it.
Yeah, we bought it used, and we kind of went through the phases. We started out with that, and we worked our way up to the one we have now.
Right.
Well, why don't you look into see how we could use the equipment?
I will talk to Paul. I didn't want to take it just for the sake of taking it. I want to make sure we would really use it, and I will run that by the guys and see if there's a feasibility, and if there is, then we'll take it. But I didn't want to. I wanted to be very careful with his generosity.
Okay. You can report back maybe at the next meeting or some future meeting.
I have a couple more things, if it's okay.
Go ahead.
Yesterday, Mimi's mission stopped by the fire department. Dale saw that on the news tonight. They gave us some 911 bags that help when we have a patient that's autistic, as well as the police officers. It contains a weighted blanket, which helps calm them down. Anytime you're dealing with an autistic person, there's sensory overload from the lights, the sirens, everything. It becomes a very anxious moment for them and the police and the fire. And through the generosity of Lisa, who runs Mimi's Mission, she donated 40 of these bags. A resident of Groseal, he graduated in 1980, and through the kindness of his heart, he paid for these bags. The cost of them is roughly $70 a bag, and he paid for that so that they could be in the ambulances, the fire trucks, the police cars.
Excellent.
There's other things in those bags as well. There's fidget toys to help distract them, to calm them down. And there's even a snack in there for some of our autistic people who are food driven. It'll calm them down. And Lisa's been doing this for a couple of years. This has grown on her. She's done it with the fire departments downriver. She's getting ready to go to Royal Oak and some of the other cities. And this is a great deal to calm a tense situation for the police, for the patient, for the person. You know, the police want to do the best they can as well. So there's nothing but positive we can say from these bags.
How many calls do you get with autism involved?
It's a small percent, but each call means a lot. And we have some people are highly function, others different. We have a young gentleman that he was very stressed. He was fighting with his dad. The whole situation was stressed, and as soon as we came with a fire truck, he calmed right down. And he loved the fire truck. And I told him, if you promise to be on your best behavior, we'll get you a ride. And that just diffused the whole situation. He emailed me yesterday. He still does. He keeps in contact. I ran into him at the football game. He loves our fire department. He loves our fire trucks. And that made an impact on him as well as us. It could have been, he's a strong man. He's grown, but it could have went anyways, but it turned out to go very well. So anything we can get to help us make things better for anyone, that's what we're about.
Sometimes the person with autism is not the patient that you're going to see, but is a part of the household or.
It's just I just wanted to
No, I understand what you were
get a
trying to.
background in that because that's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that's not really equipment, but we talked, the Goodfellows mailings will be going out in November. So that's online, and that's it for the equipment and that. And the Goodfellows mailings, by the way, that comes out of the Goodfellows Fund. So those mailings will be going out right around the 15th of November. So if everyone looks for them, that money that's donated to Goodfellows goes to help families on Groseal.
We normally get enough money to take care of the people we have to take care of.
Yes. Our citizens of Groseal, they're generous. And this Goodfellows mailing works a lot better than the old boot drives. It brings in 10 times the amount of a boot drive, easily.
Okay, you want to move on to carport?
Carports. Kurt was going to give us some information. We're still waiting on the contractor. As you can see, there's been I haven't heard anything from the contractor. Kurt was talking to him, and they were supposed to have this finished by the 28th of August. And again, we're kind of stuck in this holding pattern that just keeps going on and on. It's kind of like Groundhog Day. I talked with the contractors. He promises he's going to get out, get some stuff done. And in the meantime, my hair's getting grayer.
Can't do much right now. Is that it for your?
That's it.
Okay, we have no action items and nobody's here from the public, so I don't think we will have any public comment. So that brings us to the end of our agenda. Need a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.